saying, oh, like, I don't know.
Welcome to Amplified with Dr. Anissa Short, the podcast that features the arts, the entertainment, and the extracurricular that serves our community, feeds the culture, and is determined to make a difference. Thanks for joining us today. Enjoy the show.
Hey, great day, everybody. It's Dr. Anissa Short once again with Amplified. And listen, I know you're wondering, why is she on a Thursday in the middle of the afternoon? That's because I'm on the road. And when I'm on the road, I just grab people and start talking with them. So seriously, though, this episode is a special episode. And I am on the road because my mission during the next few days or so is to amplify the voices of others that I know that are making a difference in our community. That may be authors, they may be educators. They wear lots of different hats. And today we have a special guest, Miss Tiffany Fox. She's my sister friend. We met 3 years ago, about 3 years ago, out networking, attending events as I always do, because you know I love people. So meeting people is my jam. And we connected, and she's been stuck with me since. So since I was in her city of Greensboro, I called her and said, listen, I want to interview you. I want people to know more about you and the work that you're doing. Tiffany, tell us how fabulous you are.
Well, first, I want to say thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
super honored to be here.
Absolutely.
And thank you for calling me on a Thursday.
Yeah, in the middle of the day. Like you ain't got
day.
nothing else to do, right? Like, what are you doing Thursday at 1?
But you know, for you, anything. So, hey, everybody, I'm Tiffany Fox. I'm your healing coach. I am a mental health life coach. I am a nurse by trade. I'm a mental health advocate. I am an author. I'm a podcast host. I'm a mother, wife, all around God's girl, CEO of Tiffany Fox, Inc., and founder of a local nonprofit here, Peace of Hope Foundation.
So when Tiffany and I met, one of the very first things that that stood out was her representation. First of all, her table was on point. All of her paraphernalia was on point. But then how she represented, you know, that means a lot. People can say what they want, but the first impression is a lot. And I teach, even when I coach women in business, is when you are set up, you're not at the flea market, sis. You are a boutique. You are a brand. So when you're representing in the marketplace and people see you, they're going to judge you, unfortunately, by what they see. So then I found out my table was going to be next to hers. Oh, my God. Lucky me. And so we became chatty buddies during that event. And so we've been connected ever since. At that time, Tiffany, you talked about the barbershop talk kicking off. Tell us about it.
So Barbershop Talk is my event. My purpose work is safe spaces. So to create safe spaces to get people out of survival mode and start their healing journeys. And so I've always wanted to do a women's empowerment event, but I wanted to do a different spin, a different flavor. I love the barbershop scene. So when you go in the barbershop, if you ever had the honor of going in the barbershop, the men will empower. They're going to speak truth to power. You're going to have some laughs. It's going to be some vulnerable moments. It gets real in there. So I wanted it to be the barbershop talk feel.
Right.
I didn't want it to be the salon. Unfortunately, you know, we talk about sipping tea and spilling tea and all that.
No.
So I wanted the barbershop feel. And so I said, well, let's call it barbershop talk for her. And we actually started in a barber school in barber chairs. And the thing just grew.
I know it has grown because I've been watching her on social media. I've been your stalker. It started off at a barber school.
Yes.
Literally in barber chairs and ladies just getting together. Talk about the growth.
So we started, it was about 10 women. And we did it quarterly, and then it just grew, and we grew out the barber school. I would be remiss if I did not give Gene Blackman. Most of you all know him here in Greensboro. He let us use his barber school, Prestige Barber School on Phillips Avenue. We started there, 10 women, and then it grew, and we grew out the space, and then we had to have event centers, and it is amazing. It took a life of its own. It is the conversations that we don't have. Gotcha. We get to take off the mask. We get to be, you know, Tiffany and Anissa. We don't have to be the healing coach and all the titles and the mothers.
Right. Oh my God,
all the things. And we get to do the work. And then I believe healing happens in community. And so when you know you're not by yourself,
And it's so good to have spaces like that.
Yes.
Because to how often do women feel like they're alone
That's right.
with their struggles or
Yep.
with their demons, with their challenges, and then they go into a space like the ones you've created, and they go, "Oh my God,
Yes.
she lived my life, and here she is on the other side."
Absolutely.
So that gives her hope.
Absolutely.
That's necessary. Healing
It
does
is.
occur in community.
Absolutely.
It does. And speaking of community, I want to do a quick shout out. We are in the Historic Magnolia House located in Greensboro, North Carolina. This house has a lot of history, and I'm going to just say go do the research. I don't want to take up a lot of this time discussing it, but if you're familiar with the Green Book, which we probably need a Green Book now, but anyway, so the conversation. But anyway, if you're familiar with the history of the Green Book, this house was one of the stops on the Green Book, located right here in Greensboro, in close proximity to North Carolina, to A&T, which is the HBCU, and Bennett College. I didn't know it was literally down the street.
Yeah.
It's really on campus of Bennett College. But we're staying here. I'm hosting my guest here. I'm loving this venue, so I wanted to make sure I did a shout out because I told you I'm on the road, right? All right, Tiffany, let's get back to you. So you're a nurse by trade.
Yes.
How did you get into the mental health? I mean, how did that happen?
Do we got time?
Well, give us
the
short
version.
The Cliff Notes version.
So honestly, professionally, I started out in nursing school doing some of the psych rotations.
Okay.
And then when I came, and I'm from Buffalo, New York, and so when I came to North Carolina, I worked at Moses Cone.
Okay.
And in that probably 20.
Now tell them what Moses Cone is.
Moses Cone is the local hospital here.
Okay.
And so probably about 2006, the state facilities, the state psych centers closed down, and they decided to put all the patients back into the community.
Okay.
And so it was a wave of community mental health. And so I jumped in there. But if we're honest, I lived mental health my whole life, both sides of my family, a lot of mental illness, a lot of substance abuse. And so it was normal. And so for me to watch these people so whether you had ADHD, the treatment was we give you a shot, put you in a room. If you had bipolar, we gave you a shot, put you in a room. These people have stories, and they have lives, and they have families. And so it was important for me to give them their voice, give them their story, give them their dignity, and understand it's not just about treating them, but it's about understanding and living with mental illness.
Let's talk about the normality of mental illness. You know, people maybe not like the stigma or the verbiage mental illness, but listen, we all have something that we're dealing with, right?
Absolutely.
And what I have found, especially since COVID, because it became magnified, I believe. We didn't realize we needed help till we got stuck in the house with all of our family that we did. It was like I've needed this help all the time. So whether it's ADHD, whether it's bipolar, you know, there are very levels and extremes, absolutely. You know, but the normality of mental health.
So mental health, and I'm so glad we're talking about this. It is actually Minority Mental Health Month, Awareness Month, BIPOC Mental Health Month. And so because of stigma, when we hear mental health, we think of mental illness. We think crazy. We think medication.
We do.
We think
and that's
trauma.
Why people don't want to talk about it, because we go to the extreme.
Yes.
Right.
Mental health are your thoughts, your feelings, and behaviors. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. We all have thoughts. We all have feelings. We all have behaviors. We all have hearts. So we all have heart health, right? We all have a reproductive system. So we all have reproductive health. We all have mental health. Right? Mental illness is when something is disrupted in your thoughts and your feelings for a period of time. So if we're honest, we all have depressed moods, we get sad, grief, all of those. That's not mental illness.
That's the norm. That's the normalcy of it. That's called being human.
That's exactly.
Okay.
Now, when we're talking about we're dealing 6 months, a year down the line, and 6 out of 7 days you're sad, then we may have an illness. We may have something that needs to be checked out. But all mental health is your thoughts, your feelings, and behaviors. But the problem is nobody teaches us how to protect our mental health.
Oh my God.
We talk about eating Cheerios and take an aspirin a day, but what do we do for our mental health?
Or like me, eat ice cream. So, but here's one thing I will say, too, especially in the African-American community, we have oftentimes one thing we have in common, whether we lived up north or down south, we don't talk about outside of this home, you know, that type of thing.
In my house stays in my house.
I remember as a child being at a friend's house. These were people we grew up with, went to high school with, that type of thing. And all of us had grown up and we were away, but we were back home for the holidays. And so we said, okay, we're going to meet at such and such grandmother's house. Everybody knew that was a place to go. I did not know these folks had an auntie that was mentally challenged. Now, how do I go through junior high and high school with you and we grow up and we leave. It wasn't because until I went to grandma's house.
Okay.
And we found out everybody was going back in a certain room and they were talking to us like, I said, well, who's back there? I said, oh, that's my auntie.
And she was back
But
there.
why is she not out here with everybody else? Well, that's how they live.
Yeah,
and because I was relatively new to the community, anyone who was a part of their family circle knew of auntie. But people like me didn't. I'm like, how y'all got your aunt just stuck back in a room? That made no sense. But that's what
you
we
remember
do.
What's the movie? Oh my goodness. It had Vivica Fox, Soul Food. Remember Uncle
yes,
Joe?
Uncle Joe. Same difference. Uncle Joe. Yeah. So, this is what they're like. So we have those things, and I only point to that because I believe, and I could be wrong, is that there's a measure of shame.
Oh yeah.
And which is why they.
Oh yeah.
So we live and we introduce a measure of shame into our families, not knowing it, because we feel like we're the exception, and we don't know that it's normal.
Absolutely.
Other people are dealing with the same thing.
Absolutely.
I get it. I just had to interject that I'm no mental health therapist, but I do know life because I know people, right?
That's people.
It happens. And so your barbershop talks really serve as an intervention. Would you call it that?
Yes. But if I advertise it as an intervention, nobody would come.
Nobody would come. So because we don't want to be interventionalized.
No, we don't.
No. So let's talk about a typical barbershop talk. When people arrive, what type of vibe is it? What type of feedback have you gotten? Let's go into that.
So I'm all about the vibes. I'm all about the vibes, right? Because with women, and we have a barbershop talk for him, I'll tell you about that. With women, in order to do an intervention, we have to feel good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so because if we ain't feeling it,
I'm leaving.
We ain't.
Yes. I'm doing this number with my finger. Is they doing the sound? Okay.
So we will have a mimosa bar, a mocktail bar, charcuterie, grazing table.
Is there one this week?
It's not.
Okay, never mind.
I do. So again, it's I want you to let your guard down, right? And I want you to feel seen, valued, and heard.
I love it.
And then we get in the space, and then we begin to have a conversation.
Okay.
And then we start opening up, and then we go deeper and deeper and deeper. And I ask permission to be your healing coach. And so when we hear things, or I need to give them a new idea or correct some of the thoughts and thought patterns, I ask them to be their healing coach, and they receive.
I love it.
And so for me, it is about honoring the space to share their stories, for them to be seen, heard, and for me to pour back. Healing is detoxing.
Yeah, it is.
Healing is unlearning.
Mental detox is what it is. And you have to unlearn before you can learn a new thought. You have to reprogram.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what barbershop talk is.
So what kind of feedback have you gotten? You started this, 3 years ago?
Yeah, about 4.
4 years ago. Okay, so here we are 4 years in, and you've been doing this quarterly, and it's grown. You said you started off with 10, and now the numbers have increased.
We're about 35, 40.
Every time, almost. What type of feedback, or just give us an example? You don't have to give any names, but just examples.
A lot of them say this is life-changing, right? Because one, again, they feel seen. They didn't know other women were going through this.
Yeah.
Also, it's not just me speaking. Your sisters are talking too. Now, we don't give advice, right? But I'll tell you how I dealt with it. And then
we share stories. Okay. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And things pop in my head.
Yeah.
One of my mantras as a publisher and even as a speaker is your voice has value. And then there's a biblical reference that said, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. We go to church and we praise Jesus and we celebrate the blood of the Lamb, but we don't talk. It's your written and verbal communication when you talk about how you've overcome the challenges, or even that you're still dealing with the struggle. You know what I mean? That there's a cathartic experience that comes from that. Absolutely. So when I make reference to women about writing their stories and putting things into print, and even sometimes going into a speaking platform or evolving into something like what you're doing, Barbershop Talk, it's because I know there's healing there. Absolutely. There's healing there. And you just said it. Yeah. And this is not a paid advertisement. We did not plan this. This is organic conversation. Right? Okay, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
if there's healing.
Healing is life changing.
Exactly.
I have my regulars who don't miss a barbershop.
Right.
Talk. We talk about I hold them accountable. So that's another thing that we don't do is the accountability piece. Right. And it's not my standard, it's what you said you want.
Exactly.
Right. And so I have to hold you accountable. it is just a safe space where we cry, we laugh, we joke. Because what you see is what you get, and so it's not a lecture. It's not. It's a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I just happen to be facilitating with the right questions.
I love it.
It's spiritual. It's divine intervention. People make connections. It is absolutely amazing. Even this past June, God told me it was time to take it back home to Buffalo.
All right, good deal.
And so
on the road with Barbershop Talk. You got to come to Memphis.
Yes, we'll be there. And so we took it, and it was amazing. Yeah. And it was the first time they ever experienced anything like that. And so for me, I had to slow my roll because now I'm used to 30 and 40 people in the room. I forgot about us in the barber school. So we're starting over with 10, because here's the thing, women have to buy in.
Oh, that makes sense. And you're in a new territory. So they're sold on it here because you've been doing it. You've created roots. You planted. You're deep here.
Yes.
So now when you take it to a new community, you need to start it. I get it. That makes sense. That makes sense.
And so it's funny enough, it was my husband. I have to give him credit. So he said, well, you're doing barbershop talk and you're helping the women. Now, when they roll over to their husbands.
Yeah, we just can't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? We can't. Okay,
y'all gonna be looking at us funny.
I love me some Alfonso Short, my husband too, but I'm kind of like, listen, bro, you ain't even talked about this. Now I'm doing this, and now you want to. Okay, so you do barbershop talk for him because you're awesome husband. Yes. We love our husbands. Yes, the support is amazing. So he suggests.
Yes.
And then what happens?
And so we started. So he said, what happens when the women are growing, and then you look over and you're looking at him like you ain't grown, you the same person, what you doing? I'm over here healing.
Like I'm filling out pink slips as we talk like. I'm sorry, you're no longer needed here in this position.
Yeah. So what are we doing? And so I said, okay. And so we started, we actually had a couple co-ed. I tried it with the co-ed.
How did that work?
It worked good. I have to coach the ladies a little more because when the men start to speak.
Yeah, we don't want to get defensive.
That's right.
Yeah, we're not here to fight at the barbershop. We're trying to detox and heal, right?
Yes.
We're not causing harm. We're trying to heal, right? I get it.
So we did a couple co-eds, and then the guys is like, well, when we gonna have our own? Because I did breakout sessions even at the co-ed one. And so, I told my husband, well, you have to do it with me. I don't want to be another woman in their life, doing the thing. And those guys trust me, and they meet more than the women. They said, no, we need to get on your schedule every 2 weeks. I said, not 2 weeks.
So what do you do with them, monthly?
I try to do monthly or every other month.
Well, that's because they need a lot of help. Yeah.
I love them, and the space is different. So again, with the ladies, I have to make you feel good. So,
but the men don't.
No,
they're cutting.
They don't have backdrops.
Right. They don't have all the
They
frills.
cook their own food.
They grilling burgers and hot dogs. They're so simple. I love it though.
We got a chef in the group. Shout out to KMG, and he cooks. And we have pasta salad.
I want to come to the men's barbershop.
And they don't breed. They don't do the mimosas.
Yeah, they got their own
BYOB.
Yeah, right. I love it. I like it. I like they brown bottle it on themselves. But that goes to show that you are, you can cater.
Yes.
The mission is the same. But you make the necessary pivot based on the audience,
Absolutely.
and everybody wins. I love that.
And here's the thing: the things that the women talk about. It's the same thing the men talk about. And so you have two people in relationship dealing with the same thing, but because, as you stated before, what happens in my house stays in my house. We're not talking about it. I don't want to look weak.
Communication styles are different as well.
Because
we are more expressive, and we're going to give all the intricate details that the men could give a flip about. Because you just get to the nut and bolts, and then men are just direct.
Yeah.
And so with these types of events, I would imagine you've gained even a greater appreciation for how things need to be communicated. So now that when you're talking to men about whatever concerns they have about women, you could communicate that, and then vice versa.
Absolutely.
Is that fair to say?
It is.
Yeah, I love it.
It is.
Barbershop talk. You got to come to Memphis.
Yes, we coming.
So my husband just published a book, and this is not about him, but he has a podcast platform called Man Exchange.
Okay.
That's something he became a certified life coach during COVID. His mission is to work with boys and men.
Okay.
And then as we evolved, he's been doing a lot of things in the schools talking to boys.
Okay.
He says, I've got to start engaging with men. I said, start a podcast. So that's how that came about.
Okay.
Now this book, what 7 other men came together and they tell their stories.
Okay.
So now he wants to take Man Exchange on the road. So I said to him, I said, and I'm only mentioning this because of what you just said about the barbershop talk for men. I said, why don't you partner with someone else that has the same mission? Okay, so we're going to put a pin into that and come back. Let's get back to Tiffany Fox. All right, Reclaiming My Foundation. Let's talk about the book, sis.
Yes. So I've been an author for about 5 years. Started out publishing healing journals, right? And so I understood that everybody's not ready for a coach. Everybody's not ready for therapy. And so sometimes you just want to do the work on your own and see where you are. So I've published about 5 journals about self-care, self-discovery, self-awareness, all the things. And so I got approached by Tanisha Mackin. She was doing an anthology with about 13 authors about reclaiming your foundation. And she wanted you to tell your story and where you had to pivot and what your hell looked like and how did you come from that. And so when she approached me, I was like,
no, I'm ready to tell my story, right? And then how do I tell it in 1,500 words or 2,000 words? Because I got about 17,000 words I can share, right?
And so I prayed about it. And so God said, it's time to tell your story in black and white. And so I said, okay, well, let's do the anthology. Let me start with a chapter. And the chapter I have is survival mode was my identity, right? It was who I was.
It's so many women fall in that category. In that category. That's how we function.
Yes.
In survival mode.
Yes. And we don't even know we're in survival
mode. We don't.
mode.
You took the words out of my mouth because that was introduced to us at an early age. So it's normal for us. So when you get to a certain point in life and someone says things like, we mentioned this in the pre-show, it's time for you to rest. We're like, what is that? You mean take a nap? No, rest. What does rest look like?
And so that's been like my mission this year. I did a retreat in January for the ladies, and it was all about rest and restoration, redefining what rest looks like.
That's good.
And I had them come in loungewear. We resting.
Can we take off all the other stuff?
Can we do it?
I don't need lashes. I don't need any of that.
I made them take off their makeup.
I'm so glad you did because we're so busy. And I don't say this in judgment because I'm from the school where when you went out in public, you looked your best, you just didn't go out. Absolutely. And so you could just be having all kinds of chaos at home, but you didn't discuss it. And then when people saw you, they would think everything is just perfect, and they don't really realize that when you go home, before you even get to the house, sometimes you have to woosah in the garage for 30, 40, 50 minutes before you go in the door. There's so much of that.
Me and my driveway, we got a love affair.
Baby, I love it. I would sit in the garage for 30 minutes at least. And now, mind you, I don't have like trauma in my home. I don't have small people that live with me either. But it's just the need to decompress. Right. It's like taking off everything that you faced in the world, because when I walk into my home and I cross the threshold, I want to maintain a level of peace.
Absolutely.
And I want to have serenity.
Absolutely.
And if I'm bringing baggage with me, I don't add to that. I take away from it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're resting.
Yeah.
All right. TiffanyFoxInc.com is the website.
It is.
Now that's where all the information is. More information about you, barbershop talk for her, for him. Your foundation.
My foundation is a link to my foundation
inside the website.
It is.
Okay. Tell them about the worship. Tell them about the foundation. We didn't mention it.
Oh, okay. Peace of Hope Foundation. It's a local nonprofit here in Greensboro. We focus on mental health education, awareness, and treatment. Again, our goal there is to normalize the conversation about mental health and end the stigma, and provide access, right? Again, as people of color, as African Americans, we are a faithful people. We are, and God is supreme, and He is all things, but He also sends people in the earth to do His work. And so if you had a headache, if you had your feet was hurting, you would go see somebody. And so we're allowing the space for you to see someone to get the treatment, but also get the education and the access to mental health. And we host mental health life skills classes there. We do a lot of trainings. We do have case managers and therapy. So we're doing all the things in that space as well.
So I guess you see by now that in addition to being a nurse by profession and a wife and a mom and the barbershop talk and in the Hope Foundation, she just does all of that in a bag of chips, right? And then she helps others. I love it. Right here in Greensboro, North Carolina, in the South, originally from
Buffalo, New York. 716. Go Bills.
Okay, so we just did that. And so now she's in North Carolina, possibly taking
Yes.
barbershop talk on the road.
Yes.
Coming to a city near you.
Near
Boom, boom,
you.
boom, boom.
Please let me
So
know.
please, and then connect with her.
Yes.
Go to tiffanyfoxinc.com.
Mm-hmm.
Connect with Tiffany. Ask all the questions. Do the research that you need. And if you believe in hosting, if you believe that the work that she is doing aligns with your work, reach out.
Yes.
Allow her an opportunity to do her own research. Can make connections. I believe, as you said before, we heal in community.
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe that the greatest resource are relationships that you build, right? And every open door that I have been afforded has come through a person. You know, it's come through a person. So thank you for being my guest today. Yes, and anytime you need me to come in to do anything to support you in any way, let me know, because you're stuck with me now.
Yes,
I don't know if you're okay. We're stuck.
Yes,
so, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. The end of Amplified on the Road with Dr. Anissa Short. I've got another guest later this afternoon, and I will more than likely go live maybe 2 more times within this month, outside of the usual schedule episodes, which are on Wednesdays. But do follow me on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. with Conversations with Chosen Pen. I do feature Amplified on Wednesdays at 12 noon Central. This month of July, as well as August, it is the reading showcase. You know, if you've been following me, I've been interviewing children's book authors. And then later this month, I will be in Hotlanta at the network, being a part of a red carpet event for children. The emphasis is childhood literacy, and I'll be interviewing more authors at that event. In the meantime, I hope you have a great day. Be sure to like, comment, and share by all means. And then if you miss an episode, follow me on YouTube, Dr. Anissa Short. Make it a great day, everybody.